26 August 2024 Jackson County Commission meeting. Thanks for everyone being here tonight. We have a couple items on our new business portion of our agenda, and we have several items of discussion in our work session tonight. At this time, I'd like Mr. Hemrick, our county administrator, please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Gully, Commissioner Kennemer. Present. Commissioner Buckner.
Present.
Commissioner McBride.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so thanks. And if everyone would now please stand, I'd like to ask Mr. Porter, our county attorney, to offer our invocation. And Commissioner Kennemer, please lead our Pledge of Allegiance.
God our Father in heaven, we're truly blessed to live in this wonderful country and this beautiful county. We're thankful for this season that we have, that we get to decide who our leaders are. We pray that you'll be with us and you'll guide us and be with the process as we begin to vote tomorrow in the municipal election and continue to vote throughout the elections that are coming up through November. So God, we just pray that things will go according to plan, that things will go orderly and smoothly. We pray that you will continue to watch over us, because we know that because you say so, that men and women are able to govern over us, and it's only through your power that they serve. So we pray you watch over us and guide us each and every day. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't think we have any awards or presentations for tonight. And do we have any public comment? We have none. Okay. With that, we'll move into the new business portion of our agenda. But before that, we need to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. And you have an agenda in front of you. As you see, we have two items in our new business portion of the meeting, and several items in our work session. One of the items is a discussion of how to allocate ARPA funds that we have remaining, and so that will be a discussion of several items to consider tonight. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the August 26, 2024 Commission meeting agenda?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. To have a second?
No, second that.
We have a second. Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So again, we have no awards or presentation and no public comment tonight. The first item in our new business portion of the meeting is the motion to adopt the minutes from the July 16th, 2024 budget hearing, the July 19th, 2024 budget hearing, and the July 22nd, 2024 meeting and work session.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. In your packet, you have an agreement that we annually sign. It is between the Department of Youth Services. It is to our juvenile court judge and or the chief probation officer. It is from Latoya Bowman and with the Department of Youth Services. This contract is our agreement for support and pay for a long-term detention subsidy. And this contract establishes the conditions for that. It is for and in consideration of the mutual covenants contained, and the purpose of the agreement is to plan for detention bed use for the juvenile court of Jackson County for the period of October the 1st, 2024 through September the 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve and sign the contract with the Alabama Department of Youth Services for the long-term detention subsidy?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. With that, we will move into the work session portion of our agenda tonight. First will be, we have 3 items under commission. First is a revision to the, in our personnel policy, the donated sick leave portion of that policy. I know that we're in the process of upgrading and revising for a new personnel policy, but we have had a situation in the county with one of our employees that we think that we need to take a step to amend the policy that would be applicable to current policy, and also this amendment would be added to our new personnel policy. And it is in regard to sick leave donation revision request. Our current personnel policy allows us to allow for donated sick leave for members of our staff. It does not include immediate families such as spouses or children if a member of our staff is trying to take care of them. We do have a situation where we do have a member of our county family whose wife has had a heart attack, and our member is spending time taking care of the wife, and is running out, I think in about a week, of sick leave. And so members of our staff are wanting to donate so that he continue to be by her bedside. I personally think this is very appropriate that we would consider extending donated sick leave to immediate family members if one of our members is having to take care of them. Let me turn it over for discussion, Ms. Willis.
So this comes into play, it rarely happens, but as of what we're in right now, it is. And when you have an employee that has not been employed with us for very long, even though they may have been managing their time, they're still not been here long enough to have a lot of time built up. So this particular department, there are employees that are requesting to donate the time. It has been verified, the illness and what is going on, and the policy would still remain that it would come requested by the appointing authority to the commission chairman and personnel director with a medical certificate if we extended it to spouse and children. Any questions?
It says chronic and severe medical condition. Is there an umbrella of what fits in there? I mean, how do we say what's chronic?
It's usually something that is a long-term illness, or I mean, there is a definition of chronic, but I think we wanted to maybe be a little more open with that.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we're in a situation here where we need to be able to assist this individual. We probably need to set aside the rules and pass this tonight. Jonathan, if I could, can you give us an update on the situation?
Yes, I can, and I appreciate, first of all, Chairman, I appreciate you allowing this on the agenda, and I appreciate the consideration of this commission for this, because it is a serious family emergency that's been created. So the employees at Public Works, and he's a 14-month employee, and shortly after giving birth to their child, his wife suffered a heart attack, and it's a artery dissection, as I understand it, in which there's not enough stability to do any kind of surgical repair. So that family is relying solely on medicine, and the next few days are extremely critical on how that can go. So as it has been explained, the folks at Public Works want to provide some sick leave to this employee and allow him to take care of his newborn and his wife at the same time. Thank you.
And sick leave, again, runs out, we think, at the end of...
So this week will not be a full week of pay as it stands, and then obviously the next week in the pay period would be completely short. So from that point forward, that employee would be out of sick leave.
If it were to be passed tonight, he would not have to go on unpaid FMLA and pay a doctor to fill out the paperwork for that to happen if you guys were to make a decision.
I make a motion, we set aside the rules.
Okay, we have a motion to set aside the rules and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to revise our current and include in our updated sick leave policy, a revision to the sick leave donation request that would allow for donation in the case of a chronic or severe medical condition of an immediate family member, spouse or child, or parent or grandchild for which there are primary caretaker per medical certification.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion to have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to designate areas that are accessible to the public on county property. This has been an issue that has come up to make sure that we can designate areas in county property that is not accessible to the public, and areas that are accessible to the public. And this would support our ability to be able to do that. The resolution is in your packet, and I will read the resolution. I don't think we have to take any action tonight on this, but it is for consideration to consider for the next meeting. But it says, be it resolved by the Jackson County Commission at its regularly called meeting, whereas the Jackson County Courthouse and other county buildings and properties are dedicated to the use and benefit of the citizens of Jackson County, and whereas the County Commission, acting by and through the chairman of the Jackson County Commission, is delegated by statute with the oversight and control of all Jackson County facilities, including the county courthouse and off-site offices and buildings. And whereas the citizens of Jackson County and the general public have the right to have private information protected from public view, and the employees of the county have the right to privacy and to be safe and secure within the workplace, therefore it is resolved as follows. Within the Jackson County Courthouse and other buildings and premises owned by Jackson County, the general public has the right to access to public buildings and facilities at the times and conditions as determined reasonable by the County Commission. Within the Jackson County Courthouse and other buildings owned by Jackson County, the general public shall have access to the hallways, waiting areas, public restroom facilities, and the public areas of the various offices, as may be determined by the department heads whose department is assigned the respective area. And the general public shall not have access to the private offices or workspace areas of the public buildings except as may be allowed by invitation of an employee of that department. So with that, let me open for any questions or comments. Any questions? With that, we'll put it on the new business agenda for the next meeting. Okay, thank you. Next item in the commission area is ARPA funding discussions. We discussed this in the work session last meeting, but we have received total ARPA fundings of $10,027,745. To date, we have committed or obligated $9,718,616, and that leaves a balance remaining of $309,128. All ARPA funds have to be obligated no later than 31 December of this year, 2024. Any unobligated funds at that point must be returned to the federal government. So we have had several requests for consideration of use of the remaining ARPA funds. You have a list that is there. They include radios on garbage trucks, tire machine in our solid waste department, garbage truck cover, that would be a covering for parking our garbage trucks, The sheriff's request for a boat for river patrol so that they can enforce their duties as law enforcement in Jackson County along the river. Commission for a truck, that is a case where we have learned that by state law, if a county employee has an accident, then the insurance coverage is attached to the vehicle in use, the insurance for the vehicle use, which would put our individuals at risk of being responsible while on, in service to the county if they were to have an accident in their personal vehicle. Right now, we do not have a commissioned vehicle to be used. Next item is dock repair, materials for dock repair. And also consideration of Wi-Fi overhaul. Really, basically, this is replacing the existing Wi-Fi situation, which or capability we have, which is not very serviceable at all. A Gator utility vehicle for the park. Eelgrass harvester, and I'll comment on that. I had a conversation with our TVA individual that is responsible for the aquatic vegetation issues and trying to resolve those issues in Jackson County. He suggested that we not need a harvester, that they're going to remain in the area where County Park is for quite a while, and they will bring in additional harvesters, in fact, to help with the river and with Roseberry in the County Park area. He suggested we could forego this, not have to worry about the cost or the maintenance or the staffing to be able to do that. Another area has been brought up before is North Sound Mountain equipment for playground. And then we have had discussions about supporting Jacob's Well, a request to support Jacob's Well with 2 years worth of funding for food purchases. This is, if you have other ideas, you can add that. But what we would like to do tonight is sort of rate these from number 1 through the end, and as we can then start working to make these procurements and commit our remaining ARPA funds. So let me open it up for discussion regarding these items. First of all, let me ask, is there anything that anyone would like to add to this list?
What about additional funding for roads?
Roads can be a part of this. Now, the one thing that we would have to make sure of is that we can identify a road and commit obligated before 31 December. And so I would ask the question of Mr. Campbell if that could be done, given the 4 months that we have.
Yes, I would stipulate that it would depend on the type of pavement and the type of work that's selected, but absolutely.
Okay. Now, we don't have to expend the money by 31 December this year, but we would have to put it under obligation.
An obligation would be considered under contract.
Yes.
Essentially. So we could utilize annual bids in place for that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We could utilize annual bids that are in place to
Okay,
do that.
all right.
Does this include strip payment, possibly? Add to the strip payment?
Any pavement, for the purpose of ARPA, you could use the money for that, but, go ahead, Jonathan.
So something routine in nature, maintenance, like routine maintenance activity, I would say would be different than contract work, so.
What about any equipment? Do you need any additional equipment or anything for strip paving?
We could take a look at that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Well, again, our our purpose tonight is to put together a list so we can get started. We don't have much time to get these funds obligated, and we are,
How did the, North Sand Mountain Park equipment, who brought up the $50,000? I mean, where'd that,
that's
where'd
been,
that
that's
figure?
been brought up a couple of times before.
That-
People up in, North Sand Mountain has requested, that. We asked, remember, Stephen Freer, when he was the director, to, take a look at, equipment or playground at North Sand Mountain.
AJ might talk about this a little bit, but us being involved in education in the past, I know $50,000, that's not a lot.
It'll get a start.
Right,
So-
I mean, I understand that. It's just-
What is the $50,000?
I'm not real sure what the equipment was quoted for, but I think that was the number that was tossed around at the time. I'm sure it's gone up since that number was
I
procured.
remember Stephen proposing, a month or two ago about, about that, but then it's not come up anymore, but, so you're saying that's a budget item for playground equipment, is what we're
As
proposing?
far as I know, yes, but I'm not
Do you
sure
have that?
what specifically it is.
I talked to the company Friday that was supposed to have sent that to Stephen, and the guy had a ball game. He said he would get it to me first thing Monday. I contacted him today. He said he would send it today. I have not received it when I walked in this evening. But it's due.
So we're not sure about this estimate?
Not sure what equipment was quoted and the exact price, but he said he would get it to me today.
Okay.
Haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Do I have any suggestion for an item? And what we want to do is rate them number one through whatever, because we're going to go down, we want to be able to go down this list for allocation of these funds. I know this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy discussion, but we just need to get this done.
We're accustomed to those.
We have a good time.
We do.
Mr. Chairman, on the garbage truck radios, do we have, an estimate for that? Do we know how many radios we're talking about?
Yes. Good. So the price for it, do y'all have it? I know I presented it here a while back. It's $24,540. That'll put a radio in every truck with 3 handhelds and a base station to go in our office.
You don't have any radios in any trucks now?
We have 0 radios.
This became an item of consideration
Was
given
like
where
30
our trucks are and where they have to be. And
It'd be 13 mobile radios and 3 handhelds.
I would rank that high on the list, just speaking for myself, since we don't have radios and that. Do you have radios in your public works trucks? John?
Some of the triaxles have CB radios, others do not.
No two-way like the VHF county radios?
No, sir.
What y'all do, just use your cell phone?
Cell phone, hands-free, Bluetooth. But as Mr. Skipper alluded to, there are parts of the county without coverage, so then we would, generally with traffic control situations or road closure, it's a handheld, CB type radio, handheld, nothing truck.
so any other comments? So radios would be one of the items that we would consider. Everybody okay with that? Okay.
I'd like to also continue to consider Jacob's Well
Okay.
food pantry.
Right now, the number that we have here is 25,000. I think if we looked at it, Misty, did you get an updated number? Was it 24 or 25,000? Jacob's Well,
I thought it was 25.
25?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Okay.
I wasn't negating the park stuff, but I just know $50,000 that I've been around has not gone very far.
Like I said, it would
I
be a
mean,
good
it's a start,
start.
yes.
But
I'll get you.
I honestly don't know what the equipment was.
I wasn't down in that, I just,
Yeah.
We can relook and get an estimate for that and what are the items of equipment. The request up there was have something for the smaller children whenever they're there for ball games and stuff, that the smaller children have some activity to play.
I do have a question about the sheriff's request for the boat. I mean, do you know any of the details of that as far as could it be used for search and rescue? And,
Yes.
what are the
Yes.
specs on it?
Well, we've put together a spec, Rocky and I did, the sheriff and I did, and it is for search and rescue. It is also for recovery if need be, because they rely on the rescue squads.
To me, and of course, I mean, these are all worthy, but I think that's number one for me, because if anybody's in need of help, we want to make sure that we're able to support in that, because it's just an absolute nightmare of not having the ability to save somebody that could be saved.
The other ship portion of this is it's not only for use with the sheriff, but the sheriff agrees that it would also be used at County Park to be able to move people off docks if we had to do
Correct.
that in an emergency situation.
Could be based at the park.
Yes. Okay.
That's a high priority.
One item I'll raise, and is the Time Clock Plus. We are still doing payroll manually here in Jackson County. For every employee. Every director has to fill out a sheet on every employee. And that takes a considerable amount of time of our staff. So there is a system that we have now that is available that I don't know if it's the right term, we move away from manual timesheets to an automated system. And this would, let me turn it over to Michelle to explain what we would get with this system.
So with the system, we would have finger readers. We quoted 10 of those for all of our different locations. The main thing with this is it's not a safety issue like some of the other things that we're talking about, but it's efficiency issue. So instead of employees and directors having to complete and sign, and if there is an issue or error of data entry running back and forth to the courthouse to me with a folder that is literally that big, 26 of those per year that we have to keep and file. We're running out of storage. It's very time consuming, and we're hoping that it would cut back on our 4.5 to 5 day payroll manual entry. Is what we're hoping with that system. It does interface with our current accounting software. There's more than, I checked today, there's more than 10 different counties and cities that are actually using Time Clock Plus with Smart Fusion, and I've not heard any negative feedback about it. We went and looked at Marshall County's system, was it last week or week before, and they said that it tremendously saved them a lot of time and then space in terms of all the paperwork.
Okay, so how much time does it save? You said this is a 4 or 5 day job now. What would it turn?
I'm pretty sure that we can turn 4.5 to 5 days into 2.5 days. So probably half the time according to Marshall County.
And that's your office, or is that?
That's their time.
Yeah, that's ours in the payroll office.
So my next question is, what's it doing in his office or his office?
Yeah, each office that is manually keeping those timesheets, they're all having to enter them outside of what we're doing in our office. So yes, it's gonna save time in every department. Because they have timekeepers that have to deal with each timesheet. So if you've got a department of 38 to 40 people, that's 38 to 40 timesheets that they're having to get signatures of employees, enter their time. If they've taken off annual time or sick time or comp time, they're having to go back in and manually change all of that. You don't have to do that with this system.
So for missed punches or I forgot or whatever?
That will be the timekeeper, but it won't be a manual piece of paper that's having to go back and forth. And then there'll be a file that's uploaded to us, and we'll be able to see if there's an error or an issue. But instead of chasing people down to get timesheets brought back to the courthouse, they would be able to just handle that by keying in. It's definitely gonna save everybody time, all departments.
All right.
Any questions? Any issue with that, putting it on the list? Yes or no?
I mean, it's on the list, so I don't have a problem with that. I have a question about the commission truck. Are all of our vehicles, do they all go home with somebody in the evening, or do we have any vehicles that,
I don't think y'all have a commissioned vehicle.
well, we own a lot of, we just designate them to you and to Public Works, right?
We have a good number of vehicles that go home at night, people that have to respond.
My question is, are there any vehicles that are not encumbered that go home at night? Are there vehicles that sit in the lot?
Not with us.
Okay,
You have fleet vehicles that are left at work?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so, I mean, okay, that's just an option. So just like,
Can I ask, are you mean like not being used or just not getting drove?
not used in the evening,
Oh,
nights and weekends.
Our issue is not so much the evening, our issue is during the day when we're doing our business. Having our employees driving to the bank and driving to other places, take care of county business, we're putting them at risk of driving their own personal vehicle whenever they do that, and they are liable by insurance if they're involved in an accident regardless. And that is by, John, tell me if I'm wrong, I think that's state law.
That's right.
That's in Alabama, right? As long as it's driven in Alabama, isn't that the case?
Dock repair, what docks you talking about?
Campground docks. The docks that line around the campers, once you go inside the campground gate. We've done some repairs to some broken boards already that were safety items,
Right,
and all of those boards are not far behind.
so you're just talking about the actual
Surface.
surface, okay.
Yeah.
So the piers are,
Pier-
I don't wanna
piers-
misspeak, but,
Yeah, the piers are stable,
Okay.
and we took a look at about 13,000 materials, and we can do the label, and kind of our in-between
now, is this gonna be treated wood, or is this
Yes.
the,
treated wood.
okay.
Yeah.
I do have something to ask and something to maybe look at adding to the list. I know you won't have any quotes on it, but as far as your cabins go, your rental rates are really down. Have you considered adding coverings for people to park their boats under to try to capture some of the fisherman traffic?
We haven't taken a look at that. I haven't. I don't know that Stephen had before he left. And I haven't compared our rates to the places that furnish that to see how we compare there. But I can certainly take a look at that.
If I could real quick, I think that is valid consideration. I know a lot of the new places that are coming up have not just a cabin, but a cover.
That's a big thing for the anglers to have, to be able to back their boat in under cover and plug their boat up. And that's what fishermen look for. And if you could, I know lots of places offer utilize that, and they wanna go to those type of places first. I had some anglers come to me to talk to me about that, that's why I mentioned that.
And also, how is cabin rental, I know this is completely off the topic, but how is cabin rental compared to the previous year?
Year over year, I don't know. It's down about 10%. It's down to about 10% right now. And I haven't looked at, history, so I don't have.
It's down to 10% occupancy?
Yes.
Over this past month, how many occupants?
Past month, probably 15.
We went, I'll add to that, we went from a period of in August of over 2 weeks with completely empty cabins.
We had 2 weeks completely empty on 9 cabins.
And the primary reason has been the sealgrass issue. People that have used these, have booked every year, the
Every
same
year.
period of time, are coming to us and saying, given the eelgrass issue, they are preferring not to book this year. So that's why we're paying a lot of attention and talking to TVA about what we need TVA to be doing with this, helping with this eelgrass situation. We have put a strong request to get harvesters in the area where the county park is. They have done that. It is helping. But that's gonna have to be a long-term, continuous process. And harvesters are gonna have to be, we made the point Friday in the meeting that they had, that harvesting has to be an element of their strategy for eelgrass for a number of years to come. So, that's a good question, and it is hurting us. It clearly is hurting us.
And we're seeing the same thing with the campers / boaters. We've had some, long-term camping families who are moving out or about to leave the campground because of the eelgrass.
What condition is your present gator in?
Sad.
Does it run?
Barely.
Have you priced this gator at $12,000? I know you just got there, Doug, but.
Yeah, I did. I got a impromptu over the phone quote of about 12.
12 for basic gators, what
Basic.
you're getting?
Yeah,
Okay.
basic. We don't need anything fancy.
Any objection to putting that on the list?
No. I'm just, okay.
Okay. Are you running a total? Where are we right now?
Is the truck on the list? I'm asking, I don't know. It wasn't clarified if we were putting the truck on the list.
Any objection to the truck?
Do we have one in the county area that can just be moved over here, since it's a county truck already, that somebody don't use? I mean, is there one?
I think we should wait on the truck and relook at some of our commitments that we have.
I mean, if we already have one.
Okay.
Given previous history from previous commissions, that could be a sticky point.
Okay. Tire machine? You want to comment on tire machine?
He made his point last time. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I should have mentioned that earlier, tire machine, because that's.
I was gonna say,
That's-
we really need that over the radios, but we need the radios, but the tire machine is, it's,
So that's just yours and not his, right?
it'd be solid waste department, but I'll let Jonathan borrow it.
I mean, I didn't know if he had one. You have one,
We're
right?
good, yes, sir, thank you.
You have one already?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, open discussion here, Tire.
Can we not share? Has that been looked at?
Yeah, does it do that, big truck tires? Like the 18-wheeler tires?
We'd have to look to make sure.
'Cause I think
it does a larger tire.
Yeah, that was my only concern, was I thought theirs only did small tires, it didn't do large, and we can look at that. Cause this tire machine will be just for, the 18-wheeler tires, garbage truck tires, it's not for your small.
So I think things like that, should be looked at and verified before requests come to the commission on what equipment we have, what equipment can be shared.
Okay.
I would like to see that looked at and verified before requests come.
Did we put dock repair on there? Did we add that? Did we add dock repair?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
at least I checked dock repair.
okay.
All right, I'm gonna keep going down the list. And garbage truck covered. Okay, no comment on that? The Wi-Fi overhaul, I don't think we finished that discussion.
I think there's a return on investment on that, big time, for the whole park.
The
It's
whole
gonna
park.
increase accessibility.
Okay,
We
any
get the
objection to
grass
that?
out, the Wi-Fi up,
They'll come, build it and they'll come.
be humming again.
Okay, we're not gonna do anything with the old grass harvester. Sand Mountain Park, we didn't finish that discussion. We wanna get another quote on that, or?
So they have no playground, right? I mean, there's nothing there.
As far as I know, no.
Not playground equipment.
I don't think
They
so.
they have a walking track and they have T-ball fields.
Yeah.
That's it, in a parking lot.
And Doug has made the point, we need to do some re-layout of one of the ball fields. But that's a different discussion for later. All right, right now I have radios for garbage trucks, boat for the sheriff, time clock plus, dock repair, Wi-Fi overhaul, Gator, and Jacob's Well. Do we have a total on that?
Remaining funds would be $78,588.
$78,000.
All right, so let's go over that again, Mr. Chairman, so I can put this in order here. We have,
I'm not giving you an order, I'm
I
giving you
understand.
what we've
I
sort of
understand.
checked off.
So I can check it off on mine.
Radios for the garbage trucks,
Yes, sir.
boat for the
Yes, sir.
sheriff, time clock plus, dock repair material, Wi-Fi, overhaul the Wi-Fi, Gator, utility vehicle, and Jacob's Well. And
And there's 78,000 left.
$78,588.
so again, you can put that on roads. You mentioned boat garages, but I suspect that's gonna turn out to be a bigger issue of $78,000.
You have how many cabins?
So we have 9.
Do we even have a spot that we could put?
That's another issue, if you look at the.
Yeah, that'd be another spot. They currently park in front of the cabins along the edge of the lane.
Yeah, so I mean, there'd have to be another designated area for that.
Yeah, and the upper cabins go up the hill, so
So,
be a little landscaping issue there, but.
so may I ask if his tire machine doesn't cover large tires, will that be added to the list, the 22,000?
If we don't have anything that's capable of doing large fires, I'm okay.
Okay, so you two will check. That's an alternative.
Leaves a little
So
safety.
tire machine was what?
22,800.
22,800. That would leave 56 basically.
55,788.
Jonathan, road for 56. Did we get him?
For equipment,
We can look at some equipment, maybe, something like that, I think. Not much road work for that amount of money.
Did it get us like a eighth of a mile each, maybe? That
We
one.
can patch,
that-
we can patch something with that.
The one that got it in front of their house would really appreciate it, so.
or we could do the park,
Yeah, I was thinking here, the
playground equipment.
realistic Gator price and dock repair It could be just a hair more of what you're, I don't know. Could that round up $5,000 more?
Which one?
If you looked at a real price on a Gator, present price, and you consider dock repair, is that gonna take that possibly? That's left?
We've already got.
We've already got.
You've already got dock
Already
repair.
got dock
I
repair.
know that, but
Yes.
could it be more though?
It was in the,
It could
Well-
be, when we start tearing that surface off, we could find members into there that are, yes, that's very possible,
Rotten stuff
very possible.
that you can't see? That's
To
just a
Paul,
question.
to Paul's point, are there other docks that could be repaired?
The other docks have been surfaced.
Okay.
Yeah, they could.
did we get the fingers on the dock off KC's done?
No,
That needs to be done.
we have not done those fingers.
So you
We've
need
done the
to,
main walkway.
you need to include a little,
Yeah, I did not count those.
so if we raise that to 15 roughly,
Yeah.
okay? That's 15K for the dock repair. So that brings that to
What's our balance, Matthew?
76,500.
53,788.
What did we add that I not have?
Tire machine yet.
Huh?
We hadn't added the tire machine yet.
Okay, you got tire machine in there? Okay.
So if you throw 50K to North Sand Mountain Park for playground equipment that's in the budget, that leaves you $3,000 to play with. And that $3,000 could add it to your dock repair for miscellaneous overages.
That worked about right.
Okay.
And that playground equipment at North Sand Mountain Park, I think the jungle piece, the big centerpiece at Jackson County Park
Or,
was almost 50,000.
or you could add that $3,000 for, I know they have lighting issues up there too.
Mhm.
I would recommend we put that in North Sand Mountain Park, just leave all of it there. And use it for what we need to use.
I just checked and that,
We don't know if that's gonna be 50K right now or a little more. So what was the balance, 50
53,788.
for North Sand Mountain Park? Okay. AJ?
Look at her. We'll write this number down. Yes, let's go with me.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure I have this right. Radios for the garbage trucks, sheriff's boat, time clock plus, 15K for dock repair, Wi-Fi overhaul, Gator utility vehicle, Jacob's Well, and North Sand Mountain Park equipment. We okay? Huh?
Tire machine.
And potentially a tire machine.
Tire machine, if
If
we need, okay. Let me put that down. All right, guys, thanks. I know it took a minute.
Oh, that's cool.
Well,
That's pretty quick.
I'm willing to invest this time to make sure we don't give the federal government back $300,000. Okay?
Not a penny.
All right, next. So we're done with that. So next is solid waste exemption policy. Mr. Skipper.
Chairman and Commissioners, thank you for that. So, some of you probably been, well, probably all y'all been part of the exemption process the past couple of years. We're just kind of gonna try to explain it best I can. The good thing about this is it's, they have laws for us to go by, so long as we go by them, we're good. So, the exemption process, what you have before you, well, hang on, this is an easy one. This is a draft resolution that Mr. Porter has drafted for us. This is for another exemption for poverty level. So right now, currently, we can't offer it because this isn't in effect. So right now, the exemption process is through the state of Alabama, the health department, has an application. Previous years, we did our own application, but we come to find out that that's against the law to have our own application. So we've reached out with the health department, and you can go online and get this anywhere. You know, you can pull it up on your phone, pull it up at the town hall library. That's what's great about this, is they don't have to come to us just to get this application. They can get it anywhere they have access to Google and a printer. So the exemption process, when you sign it, you gotta have it notarized, because this is an affidavit saying that your sole source of income is Social Security. And you can read the application that the state has provided, and it says, any income from being employed in any capacity or as a contractor, including part-time employment or contractor, you do not comply. So if you have a 401k and you draw Social Security, but you have a 401k, then you disqualify. If you're a retired teacher and you draw Social Security, but you have that retirement plan, you don't qualify. So there's some we've run into, like at Skyline, you got some elder farmers that their widows, that their husband was just, they farm for a living. They didn't put any money into the system, but they just farmed. Well, now they passed away, and now they don't draw Social Security. So they don't meet the criteria for exemption, but they're just living off what little bit they get. So this poverty level would fit in for them to apply for and get garbage exempt. So, yeah, maybe that explained it. Y'all got any questions?
So we're taking this a step above what the state requires to add the 75% poverty level?
Yeah, so the state, the health code says that the commission can pass a resolution or offering a 75% poverty level. So that was done in 2002, Resolution 9. The commission done that, and it went before the Senate. Senator Laurel had that passed in 2002 to allow it. And so the next step is for the commission, and you can, Mr. Porter, you can correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, but the next step, I believe, is to pass this resolution so it can go into effect.
Yeah, everything's been done, and it's been done numbers of years ago, in 2002, to allow this to happen. The best we can tell, the commission never did take the last step that's necessary, and that it passed a resolution allowing 75% of the federal poverty level as an exemption. I don't know how it didn't happen, it just apparently didn't happen. So the commission took the initiative to start with. The state legislature passed the local act allowing this to occur. For some reason, it just never did get finalized, and this will finalize that and allow people in the community that have their only income, or all of their income, is below the 75% poverty level to qualify for an exemption.
So we have families reach out to y'all?
Well, we've had it in the past where people have applied, but right now we don't offer that.
Gotcha.
So if somebody come in today, hey, I only make $10,000 a year, and they can prove it.
Right.
But they don't draw, their social income isn't Social Security, and they don't apply.
So this is another opportunity for people to apply for an exemption due to poverty.
And is this an always open, or is there a time frame?
So this will be, from what I've looked into, I think it's gonna be always open. But the exemption, the state exemption, it goes in effect the first billing cycle of the year. So we have an open enrollment policy, but it will not go in effect till the first of the year. And then again, this exemption is not, once you apply, you're golden. You have to apply every year. And
But I do want to comment with what Caleb said. To be able to qualify for this, you have got to bring in the records demonstrating that you're at that level and no income above that.
And
If
right.
you're unwilling to do that or fail to do that, you do not qualify for this exemption.
And we'll ask for tax records, bank statements, anything, because you have to show that this is all you bring in. And if you don't show, then you won't qualify.
So any objection to putting this on next meeting agenda?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Next item is status of garbage truck.
Yes, sir. The last meeting we discussed about putting the garbage truck on Gov Deals just to see what happens. It didn't do as good as I was hoping, but it still did okay. The truck potentially sold waiting on y'all's approval for $250,000 today. That's what we brought in. So initially sold 12.5% on top of that, because the seller has to get a percentage. That's how it works. So roughly 280,000 is what it's sold for, but we're gonna get 250 of that. So it actually brought really good. If you look at, we haven't put any money into this truck. The other truck, we sent it to Tuscumbia, and they're putting an engine brake in it. So that's gonna cost roughly 15,000, what we're looking at. So this truck here, we haven't put the engine brake in it yet. So you put that into it as well, that's additional 15,000, so 295. We gave about 325 for this truck, and we drove it a year. So I think right now, this is my recommendation, is sell this truck, get out from under it, so we're not sinking more money into it. These trucks, like I've said before, they're not fit for us. The buyer that purchases this or potentially purchases it is in Florida. If they come up and look at it, like, look, this is perfect for us. We're flat land, we can operate it. They're actually interested in the other two whenever we decide to sell them. But right now, this truck right here, we haven't added any braking systems to it like we've discussed on the others. It's the oldest one we have. It's a little over a year old. And so my recommendation is to sell it.
Now refresh my memory, what's the purchase price of the new replacement?
The one to replace this
Yes, sir.
will be $397. And the truck that we're looking at, it's a International HX. It's a 15-liter Cummins. So what we have now is a 9-liter PACCAR. So it has a bigger engine. The truck that we have now has a 3,000 Allison transmission. This truck has a 4,500 Allison transmission with an engine brake. So this truck is really set up for Jackson County climbing the mountain.
What did we pay for these trucks?
$325 for this one.
So do you have the funds to cover the cost of this truck,
Yes,
or the new truck, rather?
yes, sir.
Okay, be clear. Comments? Recommendation?
I'm okay with selling the truck, and then if he has the funds available to acquire his new truck. Now, are you going to go in further negotiations with them on these others to look at doing that outside of auction time
Correct.
or
Yeah.
gov deals?
Yeah, and we've talked, so Ingram Equipment, who we're potentially looking to buy, which will be on Sourcewell, so we won't have to bid it out. They're potentially working a deal out, potentially a deal, where they'll do a trade-in for the trucks that we have, as long as they got somebody to buy them. So they'll reach out to that buyer and say, hey, if you put on paper that you'll give us $250,000 or whatever for it, then we'll do a trade-in offer for $250 for this truck, and then they'll sell that truck to the customer. We won't have to go through.
Well, I think my question was, are you having conversation, and I don't know, I guess we have to ask our attorney if we can do that, but if they bought for $280, and you know they're paying $280 for this, can we sell them our other two trucks for $280 if they are interested in those and not go through the auction?
As long as you establish fair market value.
Yeah.
And there are lots of ways to do that. Selling through gov deals is guaranteed to do that. But if there are other means to establish fair market value and you sell it for fair market value, that's fine.
I was just recouping that extra $30
I understand.
and not paying it to the auction company.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by that is we'll have proof that, hey, we sold this truck for $250,000 or what we got out of it. So I'd say that'd be a good fair market value. We're trying to reach out and get a quote, and then we could potentially, if they'll give $280 for it, and recruit the $30,000.
Well, then all these others, you're going, they just gave you $280 for it.
Yes, they did, but we only get two.
I understand,
The
the
market
they
value
pay,
is
the market value is $280.
Correct.
I get 290, get some other
Well, and then you're gonna have in these other trucks, some engine brake investment.
Correct.
So you've already got one off, and then you're planning, is your plan to try to sell the other one before you make that investment in engine brake? Since you have one off, there's three total, correct? You're selling one?
Correct.
Potentially, fixing one, and then potentially selling the other before that investment's made?
So ones should get returned, or we should get it back this week from the engine brake. And I'm just gonna have to make that decision on when we can get a truck. Right now, the truck that, we're looking at purchasing is on the ground ready. So we have some chassis on the ground, but it's gonna take about 90 days to get the bed put on it. So we've gotta see if we've got enough trucks to get us by for 90 days to sell the truck now. Versus, I'm really just gonna wait to get this other truck back and see how it does before I send the other one. And if it does good, then we'll put the engine brake on the other one. If not, then I'll hold off and recommend selling it to you.
Okay.
Just sort of laying out the case that you may want to sell all these trucks and replace them. You got the money for one replace. We've got $100,000 that we're looking at. There's a difference in price.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, this is a stage, this,
If I could.
yeah,
That leads, if you do 3 trucks this way, we're at about $350,000 that you gotta come up with to replace these trucks. And I'm not sure we have that.
and that's what I'm saying, this is a stage event. So it would be 90 days to probably could purchase another one, and then it would be another additional 90 days. So you're looking at, and I'm not saying we're there. I'm hoping that the brake that we're adding to this truck fixes it. But still, we're having issues with these trucks other than braking issues.
So where I'm going with this is your ability to replace trucks is gonna be how much money you have to cover the cost to replace and sustain your operation
Yes.
and your salary.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
Okay. So,
Do you
we
need to-
need to,
So I'll
we
need,
need to do something now on
yes,
this?
sir, I'll need y'all to set aside the rules to approve the sale.
I'll make a motion to set aside the rules.
Okay, we have a motion set aside rules. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So do I have a motion to sell existing solid waste truck?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And if you would fill in on this motion, the details on the truck.
I just don't
And-
see it back
and-
yourself in
and
the
price.
corner
Oh, I agree.
with the deficit on these trucks.
I agree. Thank y'all.
Okay, thanks very much. That's the last item we have in the work session at this time. Report from the staff. County administrator?
We will have, post meetings on Friday.
Okay.
Agendas have been sent out.
All right, county engineer,
Nothing, sir, thank you.
county attorney. Okay, with that, comments from the commission, District 3, Commissioner Buckner.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. It's always good to see the participation in government, but nothing else to add tonight.
Okay, District 2, Commissioner Kidman.
Continued thoughts on Kobe. I think it's better than the hospital. Hopefully he'll come home sometime this week.
District 1, Commissioner Gully.
I don't have anything tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right, and I don't either. Again, thanks for everybody being here. Thanks for the time spent for us to decide where we're headed with the remainder of our funds. With that, the next meeting date is September the 9th at 5 o'clock here in the meeting room. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.